I have been a fan of Palladium Books since I was in junior high, close on 25 years ago. I was hooked when they released Robotech, which was still airing in Australia when the first book came out. Unfortunately, not much has changed, and for some, that is a great appeal about Palladium, and if so, then that is certainly cool. But I find myself on more of a nostalgia trip when it comes to their games, for the most part. However, having said that, I do think that in recent years that Dead Rain is one of their best releases. It's well thought out, and while one of my largest complaints is a lack of direction in many of their games, when it comes to Dead Rain, that seems to work in its favour, and allows a GM to really set his own path. I think it works well because of the familiarity of the content. Most GMs and players have in their minds a solid idea of what kind of zombie game they like. Want a hardcore, screwed up, bad things happen kind of game? Similar to Walking Dead? It can do that. Want a fast zombie people a sick style, like 28 Days Later? It can do that. Want a more action-orientated game, with lots of guns and action over survival? It can do that. The openness of the game works because the players can easily, with some discussion, decide on the direction they want to go in. Graveyard Earth is the 5th sourcebook in the range, and it's a mixed bag, but its weakness is also its strength. The main focus of the book is on how the world is now. What happened when the outbreak started? How things went when the dead rose, and the state of the place. It covers each continent and a large part of the major cities. The weakness of the book is that the information is logical, and it kind of reads how you might well expect it to if you were to think about this stuff yourself. So what's the strength? It's the information is logical, and it kind of reads how you might well expect it to if you think about this stuff yourself. It doesn't create some strange or ridiculous situation just to be different. It reinforces how you think things will go. The next main section covers safe havens. Again, this reads in a pretty logical fashion, but it does cover a decent amount of ideas for locations, as well as some of the problems associated with them. I found this section to be the most useful in the book, and something you might return to several times in the course of a campaign for ideas. Survival Guide is an interesting read-through. Americans serving overseas has some okay ideas, but I wish it was a little bit more generic and not just Americans. I would, however, say the same if it was Australians serving overseas. It's a world sourcebook, and being more global in its info would have been helpful, but it's far from a deal breaker. It retails for around $12.95, and for that I think it's worth it. Even if it's just to support the line, there is still enough ideas in it that can be taken into your regular game.